Good Sunday morning. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Welcome to the 208 Fantasy Football Show. I'm Matt. As usual, we got Justin with us. Today, we are talking NFL news, mock draft, and a special guest. 208 gets started right now. How you doing, Justin? How was your weekend? How was your Mother's Day? That's a better question.
It's been pretty good so far. I feel like I got all the Mother Day presents out pretty early for my wife at least, so that I'm going to go see my mom later on today. So it's been pretty light day so far. So.
Yep, same. I want to give a big shout out to all the mothers, wives out there, our moms, our wives. You know, gosh, they do so much for us and put up with us for sure. and all we're doing and doing stuff like this. So big shout out to them. So happy Mother's Day to all you guys. Well, Justin, let's kick it off right away. We'll get into the NFL news and see what you got here. So.
What's going on?
So I believe the two biggest signings this week was Tyler Boyd to the Titans. Again, that receiver rooms get pretty full with Calvin, Tyler Boyd, Treylon Burks. I mean, it feels like they're filling up that room quite a bit. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Treylon Burks if they try to get rid of him, because I mean they got four pretty good receivers there with DeAndre Hopkins as well. This wide receiver room sounds really good about 5 years ago. I think Tyler Boyd's got a little bit left in him. The Raiders signed Andres Pete, which maybe they showed up their all-line a little bit. Maybe that points a little bit to the direction where their offense is going. Andres Pete was a first-round draft pick a couple years ago. I don't know if they play him at guard or tackle. Maybe that points to them running the ball a little bit more with Samir White. And then finally, I think the biggest one for fantasy football is Zay Jones just got picked up by the Cardinals. And Zay Jones had a pretty decent year with the Jaguars, and maybe he could slide into that number 2 role behind Marvin Harrison Jr. and get some targets, get some catches. Again, there's a lot of vacated targets with Marquise Brown leaving. It'll be interesting. That signing kind of makes me question if they trust Michael Wilson. It feels like they kind of have a type with wide receivers, with Zay Jones being bigger, Marvin Harrison being bigger. Does that kind of kick out Greg Dortch? Is he droppable now? And then McCarthy, I just thought this was interesting because it's the Cowboys, and me and Matt have been killing the Cowboys, I feel like, recently. Is they came out with Zeke and said it was going to be a committee still. So with Rico or Deuce Vaughn, like, I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe this is a good time for Dynasty people to kind of sell high on Zeke, maybe get something for him, because I don't know what they're going to do in that backfield still. So.
Yeah, and his ADP has jumped significantly. I think it was something like 30 spots from where he wasn't. Now he's kind of leading that backfield. So who knows? I'm also assuming that it's very, very possible that the starting running back for Dallas is not even on the roster yet. So it wouldn't surprise me if something happens. So we'll see what happens there.
Very, very true.
I'll add a couple things real quick for news. Penix there's some good reports on Penix Jr. looking pretty good. You're all smiles. I see that. Bo Nix are also being talked highly by Sean Payton, and JJ McCarthy seems to be clipping along already. So the one, and it's early, it's very early in the season, but Drake May, I think their coach came out and said, yeah, he's still got plenty to learn, which is fine, but we'll give him grace. So that is that's our NFL news and fantasy football news. So we have a special guest today, which I'm super excited to bring on. So hold on, here we go. Mr. Shane Williams Rhodes, Boise State legend, wearer of the number 1 jersey there at Boise State. Shane, thanks for joining us today. How are things going?
Thanks for having me. Things are going good, man. Just trying to stay busy. These kids here in the Valley keep me very busy.
Yep, you are coaching, is that correct?
Coaching high school in the fall, and outside of that, just doing the 7-on-7 travel teams January through April, and then just doing, position-specific training, and that's usually November through July. I try to stay away from the kids in the fall.
Is that when you do your specific training? Is that how does somebody reach out to you for that? Do they?
Typically, it's through Instagram when we post stuff on there, whether it's the videos or they're reaching out through Rare, and so that's mostly where I get kids from. And then word of mouth just seems to be the other way. Just you already train, you got friends want to come out too. So I don't do a ton of marketing, but it's just kind of you know.
Yep, that's perfect. I will, as a the benefit recipient of my own children and you coaching them. If anybody wants a little edge in that next level, high school level to maybe to the next level of college, Shane's your guy. So super impressed and a lot of fun. So Shane, you also do fantasy football, right? You're a fantasy football. Yeah, that's perfect.
4 to 5 leagues a year.
Yeah, a whole bunch. And you are in one of ours, in which we'll talk about in a little bit. But we're gonna, Justin, do you want to pull up our draft that we did about a week ago? And we'll certainly review it, at least put it on the screen, and I'll pull it up. What was your early thoughts on the draft, Shane, for the NFL draft?
I think a lot of people take advantage of this receiver heavy draft. Obviously with the quarterback situations, it always comes down to, what they have around them, if they can be protected, and if they can be developed at the next level, because the speed of the game is so much different. Obviously the hashes are closer. Everything's just different about the game. So the quarterback situation, as we all know, is typically hit and miss, but the receivers, to me, getting a receiver with a decent quarterback, if you have an elite receiver with a decent quarterback, typically that receiver's pans out versus having one of those guys who goes first or second pick, but they go to a team without a stable QB room and they kind of just fall out of there.
Yep. I agree. That
I gotta ask Shane about the Penix pick because me
sure.
being a diehard Falcons fan, man, like Matt got to see my live reaction to this pick, and I was like, "What are we doing? We just spent $180 million on Kirk Cousins. Like, I just don't know what we're doing." But like, they keep showing these Twitter videos of him just throwing ropes. So let's hear your opinion on this pick.
I guess where I stand is I just feel like if you were going to pay Kirk Cousins, I'm totally fine with you paying him and drafting a quarterback first round. But the length of the contract is where the problem is coming in. It'd be different if you had a 2-year contract. You decided to pay him a lot for 2 years and you draft a guy to sit behind him for 2 years and learn from him. I could totally get it, but 180 and multiple years is tough.
That's a lot of money.
That's the only. That's
a lot of Cole's cash there. A lot of Cole's cash.
Yeah, especially if he gets hurt and then now your first rounder is now the guy going to take over the job and you have all that guaranteed money you got to pay. It's a lot of dead money there.
Yeah,
that's my biggest fear.
I don't. This is my take on it, and Justin and I've talked about it a bunch. I really don't think Atlanta was going to take Penix early on. When it got closer and he fell to them there, they're like, "Hey, we like this kid. Let's get him." Otherwise, I don't think they would have signed Kirk Cousins that long of a deal. But I also, with that injury, I think it's going to take, because I like the pick. Retro looking at it, all it takes is one little calf strain. Because you've seen it's like, oh man, that's tied right to the Achilles, and it's like, oh, I'm pulling up here. Penix goes right in, and he could take the starting job. And you're right, the dead cap to it, they can't get rid of him after 2 years at the earliest. But
and then I want to ask Shane, because he played very high level football. When you have maybe not a talented guy in Kirk Cousins, but he's always been very middle of the pack, top 12 quarterback. Mm-hmm. And then you go to Penix, what do you do as an athlete, as a wide receiver? That guy is throwing ropes, do players talk about that stuff when they see a difference between Penix throwing the ball and Kirk Cousins throwing the ball? Does that mess up the locker room a little bit?
Well, I'll tell you what does get messed up is those practice reps, because those two quarterbacks throw with different arms. So the ball spinning backwards, the velocity is different. When it dies, it's going to die one way versus going the other way. Obviously, growing up playing football, you always usually have a right-handed quarterback. It just throws things off. The angles that things are coming from is just totally different. And so that's where I think the biggest problem comes in at. I like the fact that Penix gets someone like Kirk Cousins to be behind, because you got a guy who's been in the league for 10 years already. He's been in multiple systems. He's been successful in almost every system he's been in. Most of the teams that he's been the quarterback for, they aren't winning Super Bowls, but they have winning records. And they're able to go to the playoffs, and they're able to do things like that. So I don't know. I think I like the fit as far as that goes. I just do not. The only thing that ruins this whole thing is the contract.
Yeah. Yes.
They can cut him. Well, trade after 2 years, right? It was for 4, but I think after the 2,
it's still a dead cap. I think the dead
is.
cap's like $20 million.
Yeah. Well, that's nothing compared to the Russell Wilson thing. So
Yeah.
that's a whole nother story. Shane, so just kind of moving on here. So the big 3 receivers, right? You have Odunze, you have Marvin Harrison Jr., Neighbors. I'm going to ask that you rank them because we can go different ways, different aspects of this whole thing. What do you like?
Category for each ranking. So, what is the category? Are we talking red zone receiver? What are we? A possession?
I'm talking. Play. Let's talk fantasy football ranking. If you're taking your guys, what their draft location, the type of receiver they are. Neighbors is a guy that might get peppered with targets and only have 4 touchdowns. But what are your thoughts?
I think if you're going fantasy this year, you have to go Marvin Harrison first. He's got the more consistent quarterback. He's got a quarterback that we know can always get it to his number 1 receiver. When DeAndre Hopkins was there, he was getting the ball often. So I think I am more dependent. I can rely more on Kyler Murray to get me the ball than I can of Daniel Jones being protected or not being injured. Because if he's out, then that just changes everything, obviously, there. And then with the Bears, you have Odunze, who I think is the best. To me, I think out of the 3 in the red zone, I'm taking Odunze because his body control and what he's able to do. I think Marvin Harrison is able to do everything that all of them can do. So I think overall he's the best receiver out of all 3 of them. But in the red zone, I'll take Odunze all day. And so my problem there is you have a quarterback who's never taken an NFL snap. And even with that quarterback being where he is, he's still the number 3 option in the pass game. Now. So I just think the volume that Neighbors and Harrison will get compared to his is going to be tremendously different.
Yeah. And I 100% agree. I could almost see early on Odunze being maybe even the 4th option behind the tight end. So until Keenan Allen, I do like how they're setting up. Again, I'm a Bears guy, but I do like the setup for sure. So we'll see how that goes. Neighbors to me is extremely interesting. The kid is uber talented, and I think just will get up and go. I think they'll find creative ways to get him the ball, so he's going to get a lot of touches. I'm just not sure on how that's going to translate into fantasy. It's fun for me, but he could be really good.
I think the biggest thing that helps Neighbors, honestly, is the Giants getting a receiver last year early. I think Jalen Hyatt is going to take a lot of pressure off of Neighbors because of his speed. I mean, you got a guy that can run a 4.3. Both guys run 4.3s. So you got 2 4.3s out there running around. And so I think that'll help a ton.
And they're going to be throwing the ball a lot, I bet.
They picked up about, I think, 5 linemen through free agency before the draft. So they are all about rebuilding that line. They got to protect them.
In that same, we'll go wide receivers, just stay in that same line. Who are maybe 2, maybe 3 guys that people are kind of sleeping on? It seems like after Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. and Odunze, things get bunched up real quick, right? And so who are a couple 3 that you like?
Outside of the big 3, I think the person I'm going to tell you right now who's going to have the most successful rookie year at receiver, and it's not anybody in the big 3. It's Keon Coleman.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
There's been a lot of talk about him.
I love it.
It's absolutely Keon Coleman. I know you saw in our draft, I went way down the line to get him. I skipped over Bo Nix. I skipped over Lab McConkey. I went all the way down until I could find him. And I got him first pick of that 2nd round. His volume, I don't think people understand. He's going into a system that just lost 50% of their targets. And Gabe and Diggs, they're both gone. He has it's Josh Allen, who we know will throw you the ball whether you're open or not. And on top of that, he's the biggest receiver in the class. He's 6'3", 220.
Yeah.
So with all those things being said, Josh Allen will probably be just throwing the ball up a few times to him, giving him chances, whether he's open or not. So he's going to get the volume no matter what. I mean, the second best receiver on that team is, the old Bronco is Shakir. And then you got two really good tight ends, which I think this year Knox is going to take a huge hit after getting injured last year and the rookie stepping up. So I think you're going to see a lot of volume from Keon Coleman.
They're going to be a fun offense to watch, I think, with Curtis Samuel and Kincaid. Like, they're going to be fun to watch. Josh Allen's that dude. Like, I love Keon Coleman. Like, I mean, like, watching his first stuff at Florida State, I'm like, this kid's a freak. Like, he didn't do a lot at Michigan State, but, like, when he transferred, I'm like, this kid's nasty.
He's huge.
Yeah. I think that's the receiver Josh Allen wanted, right? I think they had some draft capital to move up if they wanted to in the draft. Then remember, they traded with KC so they could get Xavier Worthy, and I were like, that's fine, you can have him. They were targeted. So I agree he's going to get a ton of volume. I'm also a big fan of Shakir this year, and I know you watched him play. I think he played his freshman year came right after you graduated or somewhere close to that, and that kid was wow. He could move, and his game's translated well
for sure.
So I think we'll see increased targets for him this year. He's a flare for me late in this year's fantasy. So, Justin, anything before we kind of get to our draft? Anything for Shane?
No, I mean, I would like to go over our drafts a little bit, kind of get some of your guys thinking about guys, just to get a little insight. Just give me a little insight of what you guys are thinking. I only had one pick because I just traded all my picks away. I said F them picks. Like, I'm going for this championship. So the one guy that I got was Lloyd, and I don't know how he was there. So like I'm kind of interested to see how Matt kind of built his team up and see what what was his thinking, because he had all of the picks. So
while I transition here, hey, if you're online watching, you have questions and you got to ask Shane a question, put it in the chat. We'll put it on the screen. If you catch it after this live stream, drop a comment and we'll be sure to answer. So let's switch over to our draft here. So I had a lot of picks.
Yes.
So I was trading stuff. I think I ended up fourth or third or something like that at the end. I did move some people. I had the 3rd and 9th pick coming into the draft. 3, 6, and 9. And I ended up moving up, trading the number 6 and a tight end. I can't think of him, from Arizona. McBride. Thank you, McBride, to go up number 1. And I needed quarterbacks horribly bad. So my first right out of the gate was I was going to pick Jane Daniels and Caleb Williams. So, and that probably makes a lot of sense in the super flex. So, I did have somebody trying to move up to get Jane Daniels. We couldn't make a deal close there. But so the first 3 picks, right? So we had Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. I think there's an argument to be made, even in super flex, depending on your structure, that Marvin Harrison could have been the number 1 overall pick. But I chose to go the 2 quarterbacks. Neighbors went 4 here. JG McCarthy at 5. Your guys' thoughts on McCarthy at 5?
I get it. Like I this was all about fit. Like what you get with like guys like I told Matt, like if Drake May would have went to the Vikings, I would have picked him there. Like 1 through 5, like it's just about fit. Like McCarthy's got Justin Jefferson, he's got Addison, he's got Hawkinson when he comes back, he's got a good backfield, and Kevin O'Connell's a really good OC. So like whatever the fit was, like if Drake May would have went there, like I would have been okay with the 1-5. I think he'll be decent. Like I've said, I think he'll be Alex Smith with a little bit extra on top. So I don't have a problem with it, especially the Superflex.
I couldn't agree more with the Alex Smith reference.
Yeah.
I think JJ McCarthy I haven't seen JJ McCarthy have to win a game with his arm yet.
That's for sure.
Not in college. And so that's, for me, he's going to a place with 2 elite receivers. You have a receiver that had 1,000 yards in his rookie year, and then you have the rookie receiving leader before, obviously, Puka just broke it. So you got 2 really good receivers. You got probably a top 3 tight end. So I want to see what he can do with his arm. He's never had a game where he's had to come out and throw and beat the other team, because he's always been at Michigan, where we play good defense and we run the ball 30 times a game. So
Yeah,
that's very true.
And honestly, I think, was it Cam Akers is going to lead the backfield this year for them?
No, it was Aaron Jones, right? That's who they signed for the Packers.
yeah, they picked.
There you go.
Aaron Jones, which is awesome. Like, he's got to have something in him.
I'm just not sure if he can win a game with his arm yet, and so that's what I'm interested to see.
Gotcha.
The thing that gets me with him for sure is I like he seems to have a ton of confidence, and he seems like he has a really good leadership ability about him. So you guys nailed it with Alex Smith combo. I'm curious. I think he could be a top 15 guy somewhere in there. I don't think he'll ever be elite, but I think he'd be good enough. So we'll see how it goes.
People forget how good of an athlete he is. Like, he came out of ING, I believe, in Florida. Like, he was pretty top ranked. Like, he can run around a little bit. And, like, Kevin O'Connell made Josh Dobbs look good. Like, Josh Dobbs came in on a week and beat the Falcons. Like, I think he does a really good job, like, scheming things up. Like, I think he's going to make JJ McCarthy's job look pretty easy. So that's why I think he'll be pretty decent. I think they'll have a little bit of high rushing upside, where I think Drake May is going to get absolutely killed. I don't think he'll play a lot this year with what's his face said. Jerron Mayo said about him. Like, it doesn't seem like he's ready. So,
and we're gonna. With that being said, we'll cruise down the line. We're getting to Maine in a second. At 6, I end up picking up a Dunze, 6. I end up trading up to try to get that stack with Williams. We've talked about a Dunze already. Worthy is one that I'm interested in Shane's take here.
Me too.
So with the 7th pick, Xavier Worthy. What are your thoughts, Shane? Speed guy for sure. We know he's speedy, but talk us through it.
The way I see it is it's Patrick Mahomes. You got Patrick Mahomes. So this guy can go out and they can tell him, you're not going to do anything but run a go route and a post route every other play. And twice a game, they're going to hit it. And he can go for 100 every game doing that. And I think having Hollywood also that throws, having two guys, once again, that both run 4.2s is very different. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes didn't have a receiver. I don't think that went for 1,000 last year. So you win a Super Bowl and not even have a 1,000-yard receiver, then you go get two guys that run 4.2s to add to what you already have. I think I could change some things for you.
Yeah, our running joke on our show here a little bit with KC is the receivers don't run routes; they just run around and get open.
Yeah,
and then
and Patrick Mahomes puts it there.
Just get you the ball. There's no route. Just run to the oak tree, turn left. Then it'll be there. Don't worry about it. So, but
I mean, it's no different than McCole Hardman, man. It looks like he looked terribly last year in the first half of the season. And then he gets traded back to KC and he wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, very true.
It's the fit. They'll get the ball into that guy's hands. We've seen it before with a guy that runs a 4.2. So,
yep, 100%. He is going to be an interesting watch this year. With the 8th pick, Bowers. Bowers is a very interesting. I'll be honest. I hate the pick for the Raiders that picked up Bowers, but give us your thoughts on Bowers, Shane.
Who is the quarterback? Are they going to
I guess O'Donnell for now.
Is it not Minshew?
Gardner, baby, let's go.
It could be Minshew or O'Donnell. Who knows?
It's Gardner, baby.
That matters. Minshew can get Brock the ball. I don't know about O'Connell, man.
I don't either. They'll run a ton of 2 tight end sets. I can see Bowers being used a lot like Kincaid a little bit, flex him in and out, kind of move him around.
Yep.
The kid's uber talented. My thought was it made a lot of sense for Bowers to go to the Chargers and Harbaugh passed on him. And I'm like, okay, well, all right. But we'll have to keep a close eye on him. It's not a bad pick at the 8 spot here because the kid's uber talented and we'll see where he goes. Yeah. So we brought this up just a little bit ago, but Drake May. Give me your thoughts on Drake May, Shane. What are your pros, cons? You like it? You don't like it?
He's a gunslinger, man. I like him in the pass game. Obviously, I think sometimes he makes some bad decisions, but he is a guy that can just come out and throw it. But it's really weird to me where he's at. I think the New England. He doesn't seem like a New England fit. But then the problem with that is we don't know who New England is anymore.
Right.
Tired, it's a new staff. We don't know how Mayo's gonna, what path he's gonna take with leading this team. It's really interesting, and I think what makes it even more weird is that they drafted 2 quarterbacks, and so I was trying to figure out what that dynamic was because the guy they got in the 6th round is really good. So, how is that going to pan out?
Who is the number 1 receiver there, do you think? That receiver room is very wide open to me, but who do you like the best out of that group?
I honestly like the young kid from Texas, Polk, who went to UW.
Yep.
I like Polk. But to me, Polk's a slot receiver. I don't know who your outside guy is. I know you got a lot of older guys like your Kendrick Bournes and those guys there, but it's tough. Didn't they get someone else through free agency, though?
No, they drafted the Baker kid out of UCF who transferred from Alabama, who I think will be good. They have that Demario Douglas kid who did decent last year as a rookie. But like you said, I don't know who he's throwing the ball to. I don't know who he's handed the ball off to. Their O-line's bad, too.
It's gonna be tough this year in New England, and they'll have a new identity, and so if it doesn't go well, obviously everyone's gonna say because Belichick left, everything's gone to shit. So it's gonna be real interesting to see how that pans out.
I really hope they start Jacoby for at least 10 games, but I don't know how long that'll last.
Yeah. I like the Baker kid. There is stories out of Washington with Polk that he really was the leader in that wide receiver room. I don't know. Was Pope there last year?
He was.
Did you hear much from Pope about that receiver room?
No, but I definitely will ask him, who the guy was for sure.
Perfect. So interesting pick here at 10. Again, this is a 10-man league. Corum goes into interesting situation with the Rams behind, Kyren or maybe a true timeshare now. Who knows what that looks like? Give us your thoughts on Corum.
What I'm thinking, whoever who got Corum in the first round, I'm assuming that they're playing the long game, assuming that Kyren has another great year, and then now we have to pay him. When you have to pay him, you just trade him.
Yeah.
And then now you have a guy who everyone knows, Blake Corum, can get the job done. So I think that's probably coming in at. That's probably why the Rams also picked him up. But I'm a fan of Corum. I like that he's a North and South guy, and he just turns it on.
And we said it the other I think the last show, Justin and I were talking about it. A good draft strategy, it doesn't matter if it's Dynasty or redraft, but if you're going to get Kyren, draft Corum, get the two together.
Mm-hmm.
It may start off as a 70-30 split, but if Kyren misses any time or whatever, Corum's going to jump right into that role. They're very similar. That's all the reports are saying out. They loved him. Draft capital is a little different. Really don't care about the draft capital from Kyren to Corum. It's really irrelevant, but yeah, I like him. He was probably, because he got injured year before last, I believe.
National championship.
So he probably would have been a higher draft pick if he wouldn't have been injured. Kid's talented.
Yeah, I agree.
Coleman, we talked about. He is your favorite guy. Just kind of zipping through here because I don't want to take a ton of time on and go through each player. Give us a couple of guys in here that you really like, Shane, or it was a good
or picks you liked. You can gas my one pick up if you feel like it.
Yeah,
I'll tell you. For me, my third round. I might be my third round pick. I thought this one was a really good one. I got Jalen McMillan. I like where he's going. I like the system he's going into. He's got a quarterback that just signed a deal. He's going to be there for a while. You got a true number one receiver there who's going to take coverage away from you. He's 6'1", 200. He can run. He checks all the boxes. I grabbed Jalen McMillan here. I think he might be the number 2 or number 3, but that kid is good. I mean, he gave Boise State 200 yards to open up the season last year, so he can play for sure.
Don't remind us of that game. we couldn't stop anything.
Oh man,
it was just air raid.
He had 200 from the slot by himself. So.
That was a rough game.
We kept back up the safeties. We're at the end zone. We're as far back as we can go, and they
still 50 yards off.
Yeah, it was like they still beat us.
Yeah, he can run for how tall he is, and so I like it. I like the pick. You got Mike Evans. He's on the other side or in the slot. It's a taller slot receiver, but I like it.
It'll be interesting to see what Baker does this year if he can continue that success. I don't think much has changed. I think they'll be pretty decent. So,
Yeah.
I think they added a running back and so on and so forth. But it's going to be good.
Another dark horse for me, I think it's got to be Brian Thomas. I mean, he's going to a quarterback who has been in the system for years. He's comfortable in his system. I mean, Brian Thomas is big too. I don't know if everybody realizes he's 6'2", 210. So, and he runs a 4.3. So you get rid of Calvin Ridley and you replace him with him. So having Christian Kirk as the number one option, and he's also a speed guy. So there's some, and then you got Ingram at tight end. So they added a really, really good piece to their offense for sure.
I agree. There's so many of these players. It's hard. We get pretty excited about all these rookie players, and a lot of them don't come to fruition just based on either placement or they're just getting an opportunity or they just miss their opportunity. Justin, you wanted to talk a little bit about Lloyd because you got him insanely late, and I cannot believe I let him get past two of my draft picks and went, what? When you drafted him, I had no idea he was still there. I am a big fan of Lloyd as well. Talk us through it.
Yeah, so I was just bored. I was just watching this draft and I was just talking to my wife. I was like, this guy's on the board. I really like him. We'll see what happens. My roster's pretty ready to go. We did pretty good last year. I mean, we accidentally won the championship, but I think running backs, I'm gonna take guesses at running back, and I feel like Josh Jacobs just had such a bad year last year. Marshawn Lloyd's got a chance to maybe take his job. Josh Jacobs is on a very cuttable contract next year. If I have to wait a year, that's totally fine. I have pretty decent running backs. So my thought was I'm going to take a shot on running backs I feel like my wide receivers are in a good spot with Jamar Chase and Amon and CD. I didn't feel like I had to take a shot on tight ends. And I have 4 really good quarterbacks. So I was like, I'm just going to keep taking shots at running backs because I feel like as many lottery tickets as you could take on running backs, if you get 1 or 2 to hit, it's huge. There wasn't a Bijan and there wasn't a Gibbs. So, I mean, running backs are kind of hard to go by. So, I think Marshawn Lloyd's got a lot of upside. He was good at USC, and I love the Packers offense. Jordan Love looks really good this year. They have a ton of good wide receivers, and if he just has to compete with Josh Jacobs, and Josh Jacobs might be over the hill, then I'll take that shot. So.
Yep, agreed. Yep. Agreed. Another guy that I like is Wright out of Miami. That kid is explosive. My understanding is Dallas was really high on him, and Miami got to him first. Mustard, as we call him Mostert. He'll be relevant for a little bit, but I think Wright will step in. And we got to remember, as good as I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Devon A-Chain.
Yeah, A-Chain. Sorry, as good as A-Chain was, he was also injured. So there's an opportunity for Wright to have pretty early on success. We'll see what that looks like, and he fits that mold very, very well.
For sure.
What other that 4th round spot, Shane? As you look through there, is there anybody in there you're like, yeah, that is a deep sleeper, love to have him, or somebody who's not in there, maybe like a Vidal or something? Is there somebody in that 4th round that you like?
I like Shipley. Honestly, I think it's just gonna. I don't know how Kellen's gonna do things over there. He's going into a lot different personnel over there, and so I could see Shipley coming in and getting some of those carries. And I think he does a good job in pass pro, and obviously we know Kellen wants to throw the ball. But, I think Shipley could find a good spot in that offense.
I agree. I do like him, too, as a backup. And you brought up Kellen. So there are folks out there. I mean, for those who don't know, Kellen Moore was Mr. Boise State, right? 50 wins, 3 losses, something like that. Had held the record for quite a while. Back up in Dallas, ends up being Dallas OC. Turn that offense into just a juggernaut. Ends up getting let go. Tries to go to the Chargers, which we all kind of thought would be a good fit, but that head coaching was disastrous. Didn't really have the players he needed. Ends up in probably one of the best spots you could come up with in Philly with that offensive firepower. the same time, Philly's a very tough place to coach. I mean, if you don't get on it, they're going to come after you.
Yep.
I really think we're going to see some special stuff out of Hurts. But Shane, what are your thoughts on some of those players come out? Who's going to benefit from his OC calling style?
I think it's going to be Devontae. I feel like he didn't have a great year last year. I think a lot of times, and we saw it even when they lost a few games, it was, I think Jalen just said, screw it, I'm just going to throw it to Brown. And it wasn't really being schemed up. They were just, taking shots. And I think they had at one point in last year, they came out and said, AJ ran the wrong route and he just went down the field, and they got a lot of that going on. So I think having Kellen's great with schemes. So I think this is the year where Devontae, obviously they just paid him, so that's really good for him. He's got stability. They paid both of their receivers, actually, so he's going to have them for the next 3 or 4 years. So he definitely has guys who can get open. So I think for me, it's got to be Devontae. I don't see how Devontae doesn't have a career year next year.
Yeah, I agree, and I saw Justin shake his head too.
That's exactly what I was like. He seems like a Kellen Moore receiver. Like Devontae was a nasty route runner in college. Like it seems like that's what Kellen's going to scheme him up to do. Where AJ Brown coming out of college and still now he's just the physical freak. He's real close to Julio, who's one of my favorite all-time players. Like AJ Brown is just huge, and it just feels like I'm going to be a better athlete than you. It feels like they'll scheme up a lot more for Devontae, who is tiny in NFL terms, but he runs routes really well, like body control, like everything that Shay mentioned about Keon, but he's just a little bit more slender. But Devontae Smith didn't win a Heisman on accident. Like, kid's a freak.
Yeah, agreed. So with the addition of with Barkley there, I think Hurts had, 15, something like that, rushing touchdowns with the brotherly shove. I'm a big fan of Hurts this year. It wouldn't surprise me if he's the number one fantasy quarterback overall this year. But do you think he loses some of those rushing touchdowns to Barkley in that offense?
Not when they're on the 2, maybe when they're on the half inch, but they're on the 2. They're getting after Barkley. Last year, I think I saw the Eagles do 3 times in a row from the 2-yard line, go from the 2 to the 1 to the inch to the score on all QB.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that in my life.
Yeah, that's good. Rugby style.
They literally will do it. But I think with Barkley, that helps, obviously. Even if you're faking something to him and then still doing something, I think having him obviously is a big loss for the Giants. So
yeah, and I do want to think they want to try to keep Hurts healthy. He's been banged up a little bit from the runs and stuff like that too. But I'm just curious what your thoughts were on that.
Barkley's going to be fun to watch this year with a good team. I think his son or his daughter, he asked him, he's like, "Are we going to be good this year?" Like it was just super funny. Like it's going to be fun to watch him run behind a really good offensive line.
Yeah. I want as much as I can get in redrafts of Philly as possible. I'll be targeting those guys in redrafts like crazy, so it should be fun. Let's jump over. We're going to jump into our mock draft. We'll kind of get that going. Let me switch some things over here. Oops, sorry. Got to get to my other tab here. And let's move us down here. There we go.
You guys are all going 1, 2, 3. All right, wonderful.
Yeah. Just like, okay, yeah. We can make that work. We'll start off. So this is Superflex Dynasty startup. And we're just going to go 5 rounds and just talk a little bit about it. We'll talk about different players and what we think. We've hit a lot already, but pretty excited. And starting with the 101 for me, you guys are going to think I might be a little bit nuts, but I'm going to
oh, jeez. What?
Whoa, interesting.
I'm going to go Marvin Harrison.
What?
I think that
what
guy
are we doing?
I think that, let me explain. Let me explain. So I'm okay with doing Marvin Harrison. That guy is an elite, absolutely elite wide receiver. He's going to be in the league forever. I can circle back around for a while and get other quarterbacks. But I really think for a long term for Superflex, I can run with it.
This PPR?
You guys think I'm nuts? Yes, it's PPR. Shane's laughing at me. He's like, "What are you, crazy?" But no, that's what I'm thinking.
Both these first 2 picks.
I don't even know what to do with you guys right now.
It's certainly a different strategy. lot of times. So here's why folks are these guys are making fun of me a little bit. If you're new to Dynasty, a lot of times in Superflex, your quarterbacks go early off the board. That's just kind of how it works. That first round is quarterback heavy.
Yes.
And you
Oh
go from there.
yeah.
So Lineberry is going to walk right into whoever he wants.
Oh yeah. Give me this and give me this. All
That's
day.
perfect.
Oh yeah. Give me some Bijan, baby.
And I don't see anything in this first.
I think it just picked for me.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. It's all good.
Oh, you're on auto. That's why, Shane. Here,
how the heck do I get off of that?
Let me. See if you can. There should be an auto button there somewhere.
Is it still an auto?
Yeah, I still see an auto. That's okay.
I have no idea how to take
this. I'll talk about my picks.
Oh, I got you. I just take it off.
Oh, there you go. All right, here. Let me remove it. Okay, now you can go. There we
go. All right.
There we go.
I mean,
Shane, did you pick Josh Allen? Yeah.
Yeah, I know it auto Josh Allen for me, but I'll take Josh Allen.
Yeah. That's a consolation.
Okay, wait, it did it again. That's on me.
Here, all right. Take yourself off auto again, and I'll remove the player.
Oh, put me back on auto. Yep.
Okay.
All right, we're going here.
Ooh, okay. I like the stack.
That's a good pick.
I like it.
Yeah, I certainly like the stack as well.
I don't like the CJ Stroud. Like, he's getting bumped up so high this year. Like, I get it. He had a really good rookie year, but like, he does not run the ball. Like, we're not going to get any extra off of that. So that's just tough for me. I don't know.
I just looking at this first two rounds, I don't see anything. That surprised me. I'm going to hit pause here.
I mean, your pick surprised me a little bit.
Yeah. It other than that.
I would have thought he still would have been available right now.
Yeah, for sure.
In a lot of the super flex drafts that I've done or seen early on, he is going at the end of round one. It's crazy. I saw Caleb Williams go number one the other day. I was like, wow. But everything else here it's just, they're trying to draft the early young guy, right? So on and so forth. But so Shane, what do you take Tyreek Hill? That's obviously a win now mode, right? That's what you're thinking with Josh Allen. He's 31 years old, right? So he's got maybe 2 years left. Is that your thoughts?
I was gonna say 2 to 3. So yep.
Yeah. Okay. I don't see anything else you guys see that like or what you really like even better. What do you really like?
Try to think.
Trying to see. I think to me the Joe Burrow pick is a little tough because me personally, I just traded Joe Burrow away last year. It was time. He's gotten hurt, a lot lately. It was just time to part ways, and so
yeah,
I think that one's a tough one if you're going to start a franchise with him. Because I don't know how many full seasons he has left in him.
Shane, would you rather have Kyler or Joe Burrow?
Right now?
Right now.
For Dynasty or for one season?
Dynasty.
I gotta go. I don't know. That's tough. They both keep getting hurt. That's a tough one.
I like Kyler.
Right now, at least for the next 3 years.
Yeah, he runs around a lot.
Kyler probably has more years left than Joe Burrow. I'll say that.
Yeah. So Shane, Jordan Love or Joe Burrow? Those two went back to back.
I love the Jordan Love because he's on the way up. Joe Burrow is already at the peak probably. He's already been to the Super Bowl. I don't know if we'll see him ever go back to another one. He's on the back half. Jordan Love I honestly think even the Bijan and Richardson here, this getting paired up here, I think that's a good for future. Like obviously in 2 years, that's going to be probably elite. I don't love Richardson yet, though. I'm still not there.
I like him a lot. He scares the crap out of me, like hurt wise, but like the couple games that he played, I'm like, this guy's different. He's like Cam Newton when Cam Newton first came out. I'm like, what is going on right now?
That's exactly it.
All right, let me restart here. Let me resume the draft, and I'll make my.
And I'm just a Bijan homer, so I love Bijan
selection. Oh man, this one's tough for me. Do I go?
You got 12 seconds. You better hustle.
Oh, I know. This one's an interesting pick. He's still young. We still don't know who he is. You know what? I'm gonna do it, and because I don't know, I'm gonna go back to back here.
I thought you were gonna go Laporta.
No, too early.
Sheesh.
It looks like they're gonna auto Jake.
I don't mind the Jane Daniels pick. It's not great.
Both those quarterbacks, we don't know who they are. Again, it's a super flex dynasty, and I think there's two different ways to look at dynasty. Everybody knows this. I didn't come up with it. You're in win now mode, or are you in future mode? And sometimes those first few picks is kind of just figuring out where you're at. So
for sure. There's Sam.
Laporta goes off.
This is rough. I don't like any of these.
So let's talk about that, Justin. Right? I think there are times think strategy if you've never done dynasty or whatnot. A lot of times, if you don't like somebody or like where their ADP is, a lot of times you can just trade out of this pick, right? Maybe somebody else likes somebody, you can navigate it. But we're not doing trades right now. But that's a good strategy if you don't like someone. That's a good pick. I like McBride. Maybe a little early, but I do like him. I like him a lot.
There you go. This one's for Shane.
There you go.
I think I might be able to get who I want. I like this.
I wanted to take Drake, but I'm like,
oh my god!
Bauer. You got Kincaid.
I wanted Bowers, but I'll take Kincaid.
Yeah, I do like that too.
Especially with having Josh Allen already, I like it.
Yeah.
Going through the next two rounds, I don't think thoughts on Ayuk, Shane. What's going on in San Francisco with them?
He's the future. There will be no Debo in the next year or two.
Yeah, I agree.
It will be Ayuk number one, and the rookie from Florida will be the new Ayuk, and then that's Ayuk.
Parasol. Yeah. So I keep hearing this in some very faint channels that during that Super Bowl run, they needed one more wide receiver that could win one-on-ones, and Debo's not that guy. Debo's not he's right. He's kind of that zone guy, get a catch, yak yards. They wanted another guy that fits their scheme of I want to win one-on-one routes, and Parasol is that guy. I'm intrigued a lot. So pretty interesting.
Yeah, Debo's the odd man out, I think, here.
What's your guys' thoughts on McBride and his ceiling as far as a tight end? Where do you guys rank him as going into top 5?
Watched him towards Boise State for about 4 years, so I'm all for him.
That's true.
He's a baller.
Good in Colorado State, really good.
Do you think do you think he could be the number one tight end overall within the next 2 years?
Not as long as there is a tight end in Minnesota.
Really? You're a big Hawkinson guy.
Yeah, Hawkinson's a dude, man.
Okay. Would you rather have McBride or Kincaid?
Kincaid.
Yeah, I think so too.
Goes back to the quarterback situation.
Yeah.
Kincaid or Laporta?
Laporta.
Okay. Fair enough. Those are great. Those are great.
Yeah, they're kind of the same situation where it's like, does Marvin Harrison assume that target monster role that St. Brown has? Like Laporta just had a weird year. Like he just had a ton of targets. Like I don't know. Like it was strange. I didn't think he'd do that good.
Yeah.
Those freaking Iowa tight ends, man.
Yep, for sure.
It's a tight end hub.
Prescott comes off there in the 4th round early on, so he's an interesting spot right now of what they're going to do. Right, there's rumors all over of maybe Jerry Jones kind of just bags it, doesn't do a whole lot this year, trades Prescott, maybe goes to Vegas,
and Raider, baby.
Yeah, and it just kind of blows up the whole thing. He pays Lamb, he pays Parsons, and just and kind of rebuilds. What's your thoughts, Shane? What is Dallas going to do with Prescott? He's 30 years old. What's the plan? What are your thoughts?
I don't know, man. That's a sticky situation there. It's like they keep year after year they're saying we're going to take the chance, and it just I don't know. And then you know what? I don't know if it's all on Zeke either. You know, obviously they had a ton of injuries last year on the line. It's just that team played like the best team in the NFL for like 9 weeks. And then like 4 weeks outside of those 9, they put like the worst team in the NFL. And then the remaining like 4 weeks, they look great again. It's just you never know what you're going to get with that team.
Yeah.
Like to see what the Packers did to them is just crazy. I don't know how to.
Yeah, I don't either. I guess the challenging part too is like, let's say that Dallas does get rid of gets rid of Dak. Who are they bringing in? Who is? So are you gonna try to trade up to get one of these rookie quarterbacks?
You already know who the conspiracy is.
Yeah, Sanders. Yeah, we get that.
Absolutely.
Are they going to try to make something happen there? And
they would.
Knows?
Jerry's cutting the check, man.
Yeah. Dion's, I promise you, his dad's driving that bus. He's going to have him go wherever he wants him. It's possible he could go to the Giants because it's a big market too. But I mean, he's not going somewhere where it doesn't make sense.
And we would definitely accept him over in New York. I promise you that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Another one just right next to it, and just because I'm curious, but Drake London. Everybody's pretty excited with Kirk Cousins, and I know, Justin's like, okay, what are we going to get out of Drake London this year? What's our prediction on this?
He'll have the most receiving yards he's ever had in the NFL.
One of my bold takes is he's going to lead the league in touchdowns. I have no doubt.
Is he more talented than? I'm trying to think of a younger, older wide receiver. Is he more?
It's who do you take? Do you take you're starting your brand new team? You take Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, or Drake London? Who do you want?
Chris Olave, Drake London, or me personally? I'm probably
Garrett Wilson.
I want Garrett Wilson.
With Rodgers being his quarterback, I'm taking Garrett Wilson.
What about AJ Brown and Drake London?
Ooh. AJ Brown is on his last contract for sure.
Right.
There's no way he's gonna play another 6-7 years. He's probably got 4 left in him, 3 left in him, and then
I think Drake London's gonna eat. I think
he already has hamstring problems, so I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how much he has left in the tank. I'm taking London probably.
So these two are really close in my mind, especially with the quarterback situation. Michael Pittman or Drake London?
Oh, Drake London.
Drake London. He's got 2 quarterbacks, man.
Okay. Good stuff. Hey, that's why we're here talking about this, right? Helping people win their leagues.
Once Cousins gets hurt, he's still got another one to get him the ball.
That's so true. We're gonna kind of rip through the last rounds here. Kind of going through, see who I like. In the 4th round, I don't mind taking Travis Kelce here. Although he is older. He's older, I get that. And I need a running back here with the 5th. I'm not sure what Kenneth Walker is going to be this year, but I'll grab him. I'm not sure what they're going to do with that. I'm not sure what that offense is going to look like.
That's very true. That with Grubbs coming in from Washington, it'll be kind of interesting to see what they do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Are they going to? Because they picked up quarterback. I can't think of from.
Sam Howell.
Yeah, they picked up Howell. That seems like that's an right out of the gate a quarterback competition. And I don't know if I like Geno a little bit better or Howell a little bit better. I think it just kind of depends.
Geno didn't have the greatest year last year.
Yeah. And I'm a JSN fan. I think JSN's a really good wide receiver.
There it is. There's your boy Hawk.
Good pick.
See, there's still so many elite receivers out there, but the tight ends are real thin at this point.
Yep. I'm going to pause it here because I just wanted to go through 5. And I think that's kind of what I was alluding to earlier is when you're starting your dynasty or redraft, it doesn't matter. There are so many good wide receivers in the league. There's so much depth.
Yep.
That's kind of why I like playing in leagues where you're starting 3 wide receivers. It makes it a little more challenging, but man, it's a lot of fun. Running backs out there, or everything's by committee now. I mean, there's very few workhorse running backs, and this year probably made it worse with the draft. We wanted some of these young guys to go in a little bit better spots. But I guess while we're talking about that, Brooks, what's your thoughts on Brooks, Shane, now that he is a Panther?
On Brooks?
Yeah.
Brooks who?
Running back. The running back.
From
Texas.
Oh.
Who got the ACL injury, probably would have been much higher.
Yeah. I'm surprised that he's there. It's just running backs and ACLs, obviously the span on them already isn't, long. So to get one that has already had an ACL is just so tough. I don't know. It's kind of like how I feel about the Ravens' old running back. I think JK has tore his twice. It's just like, because of the job that they have, it's just hard to come back from that and just go. I mean, you don't typically see it. Once they tear their ACLs, it's kind of downhill from there. So I don't know. That's a really tough one. You never know what you're gonna get after that.
There we go. Nope, I agree. Injuries are always kind of tough coming out. I mean, there's only been a couple. I mean, Breece Hall looked really good come off of it, and of course you have Adrian Peterson, which was
he's not human.
He's not human at all.
I don't think they make him like Adrian anymore, though.
No, they do not. They do not. So, well, shoot, man, we covered a lot today. We're almost at the hour mark. Again, if you're watching, leave a comment below, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. We're going to do more and more and more content as much as possible with the 208. Shane, we want to have you back as much as possible. And I know you are a busy man with family and football and side training and all that stuff. But it is kind of the down time of fantasy football. But before long, we'll be picking up full steam. So anything to add before we sign off? I'll leave it to start with you, Shane.
Nothing to add. You got me thinking I might want to add another Dynasty league of my own.
Yeah, let us know. I
might need to fill it with some people, so you guys might get a text from me.
Yeah, absolutely. Next time we'll be talking about some strategy, more strategy, right? We're going to get some stuff out on our website. That's coming. It's being built as we go. And we're just going to make this thing grow. So, Justin, anything else before we sign off?
Nope. Just Drake London's going to lead the league in touchdowns. You can book it right here. He's going to have 15 touchdowns. Ooh.
Is that two? What's the record? What was the record by rookie?
Randy had rookie. I was like NFL wise. Like I remember Randy had 21 or 23. I can't remember. But I think
it was up there.
I think Drake London's going to get force fed by Kirk Cousins.
I think Keon Coleman's going to lead all rookies in receiving.
Love it.
I love it. I love the picks. I don't have one off the top of my head. Actually, I'm going to throw it out there. You guys are going to laugh at me, but Caleb Williams is your rookie of the year. So I'll leave it out there.
It's doable. I mean,
it's doable. He's in a good spot.
I would hope so. Good night.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. It's been a fun hour. We will do this again soon. Shane, if we will get you on back here soon. If you need anything from us, please reach out. Good luck to you on your football season and the training and the rare stuff. If you're interested in any of that stuff, reach out to Shane. Get him on Instagram. Is that what I heard?
Instagram.
Yep. Jump on the Instagram and reach out to him. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us again. Happy Mother's Day and have a great day.